Married under fire, a bride, a betrayal, and a ghostops extraction. When the white veil fell across Elena's face, danger was already moving through the garden. A wedding meant for roses, vows, and laughter would soon echo with gunfire. Love, betrayal, and a soldier's ghosts were about to collide. The Pacific air carried the scent of salt and roses as sunlight poured over the gardens of Clearwater Estate. Elena Ramirez, once Staff Sergeant Shadow Ramirez, studied her reflection in a floor-length mirror. Her ivory gown draped elegantly, concealing scars carved into her skin from years of combat zones, one near her ribs from shrapnel in Kandahar, another jagged line across her thigh where steel once met flesh. Her fingers grazed the pearls around her neck, her late grandmother's necklace, now trembling slightly with her breath. Margaret, her mother, clasped Elena's hands, whispering, "You've already survived the hardest battles. This one is only joy." But Elena's eyes searched the window. Guests gathered below, Daniel's colleagues, civilians polished in suits laughing easily. On the other side, her veterans, their bodies worn but their gazes sharp, like wolves still attuned to danger. For a moment, Elena felt caught between two worlds. The soldier and the bride, the woman who'd planned escapes from ambushes and the woman about to promise forever. She whispered to her reflection, "Today, you can rest." She didn't know her instincts were right. Rest would not come. Sergeant First Class Noah Kim entered quietly, his dress blues pressed to perfection. He had bled beside Elena, watched her pull men out of fire when retreat seemed impossible. Now his smile softened. "Shadow," he said, using her call sign. "You clean up all right." Elena chuckled, easing tension. "Don't get used to it. This dress isn't exactly combat ready." Through the window, a black sedan with tinted windows pulled into the line of luxury cars. Noah's gaze lingered. His instincts twitched. Elena noticed too, but shook it off. Not today. Down in the courtyard, Captain James Whitaker's booming laugh cut through the hum of conversation. He towered above civilians, medals gleaming, his posture crafted for recruitment posters. Lieutenant Ryan O'Connor flanked him, young and eager. Whitaker's voice drifted upward. 8 years? Barely enough to grasp the real weight of war. Most women can't stomach the long haul. Elena's jaw tightened. Noah muttered, "He doesn't know what you've done." She brushed invisible dust from her gown. "He doesn't need to. Daniel does. That's all that matters." But Whitaker's words lingered like smoke. Doubt and pride wrestled quietly inside her chest. The ceremony unfolded under an arch of white roses, the Pacific shimmering beyond the cliffs. Daniel Carter's eyes watered as Elena approached, her hand trembling in her mother's. He wasn't a soldier, not forged by deserts and raids, but his love carried its own quiet strength. Vows spilled like fragile promises, for better, for worse, in sickness and in health. Elena's voice cracked once, not from nerves, but from the unfamiliar luxury of speaking about a future she'd once thought impossible. Applause rippled as rings were exchanged, their kiss sealing two worlds together, hers steeped in shadows of war, his rooted in innovation and safety. For a brief hour the ghosts hushed. As cocktail hour began, Elena wove through clusters of guests. Whitaker stood at the bar, champagne glass raised. "Real combat," he boasted, "requires resilience some never touch. Logistics and convoy escorts don't compare." Ryan O'Connor nodded, eyes flicking to Elena. Daniel's college friend shifted uncomfortably. "Didn't she serve in Kandahar?" Whitaker smirked. "Deployed, sure. But most women don't see the sharp edge of battle." Elena paused mid-step. Her chest tightened. The warrior in her flinched, but the bride forced a smile. "Not here. Not today." A champagne glass slipped from a waiter's tray, shattering across stone. Guests laughed nervously, dismissing it as clumsiness. Elena's eyes, trained by years of combat, scanned the scene. The waiter's stance was too rigid, his glance too calculated. Another server adjusted a cuff, revealing a flash of something metallic beneath the sleeve. Her pulse quickened. Daniel approached, oblivious, sliding an arm around her waist. "You're glowing," he whispered. She tried to focus on him, but her instinct screamed. Noah caught her gaze across the terrace, brow furrowed. He had seen it too. His subtle nod was a silent agreement. "Stay alert." Margaret waved from a table of family, her laughter like a bomb. Elena wanted to sit beside her mother, to be only a daughter again. But then she noticed the black sedan still idling near the gates. Engine running. Windows dark, a gust from the ocean carried a whisper of dread. Whitaker raised his voice again, dismissing Elena's past. Civilians leaned closer, curious, entertained. Elena clenched her fist beneath the tablecloth. The warrior inside her whispered, "You're not done." Not yet. The reception hall glittered with chandeliers, laughter filling every corner. Daniel gave a toast, his voice warm, hopeful. To Elena, who fought battles so I could dream freely. And to love which gives us all something worth protecting. Applause thundered. Elena smiled, but her gaze never stopped moving. At the edge of the room, a server lifted a tray too high, as if shielding something. Noah shifted in his seat, hand brushing his cufflink, the silent signal they used in combat when something felt wrong. Margaret leaned toward Elena. "Sweetheart, breathe. It's your day." Elena forced a laugh. Old habits. Then the chandeliers flickered. Once, twice. Music stuttered. The black sedan outside roared louder, its engine vibrating the windows. Suddenly the side doors burst open. Figures in catering uniforms swept in, movements sharp, not clumsy. Elena saw it instantly, weapons disguised beneath linen. Gasps echoed. Glass shattered. Daniel froze mid-sentence, microphone still in hand. Elena's heart snapped into soldier mode. She gripped the hem of her dress, her eyes scanning exits, counting enemies. The bride was gone. The warrior had returned. Chaos shattered the reception. Guests screamed, ducking beneath tables as the disguised men revealed assault rifles wrapped in linen. Chandeliers rattled, the echo of metal striking marble overwhelming the string quartet's last trembling note. Elena's body moved before thought. She seized Daniel's arm, dragging him down as bullets split the air. Noah vaulted across a table, overturning it into a barricade. "Shadow left flank," he barked, reverting seamlessly to battlefield rhythm. Whitaker froze, wide-eyed, his chest full of medals suddenly meaningless. O'Connor tried to usher civilians toward the kitchen, his face pale with shock. Margaret clutched her pearls, whispering Elena's name like a prayer. The intruders moved with precision, not chaos. This wasn't a robbery. It was an operation. Their leader scanned the room, eyes cold, voice calm. "Find the senator." Elena's heart stopped. Senator Harold Grant, Daniel's godfather, seated at the head table. Target confirmed. Elena's wedding dress tangled around her knees as she slid across marble, scooping a dropped pistol from beneath an overturned chair. She locked eyes with Noah. They needed a plan. This wasn't survival anymore. It was war, wearing a veil. Elena pulled Daniel toward the floor as another volley shattered champagne bottles. Shards of glass rained down like jagged stars. She hissed, "Stay low, don't move." His eyes, wide and terrified, searched hers for answers. She couldn't give him peace, only survival. Noah crouched beside her, his hand pressed to the pistol she'd retrieved. They're professionals, too clean for mercenaries. Elena scanned the uniforms, fake servers, synchronized movements, comms tucked in ears. This was no freelance hit. This was orchestrated military grade. Across the room, Whitaker cowered behind the bar, his earlier arrogance crumbling. O'Connor, to his credit, shielded 3 guests with his own body, urging them toward an exit. Then Elena saw it, the senator being dragged by 2 gunmen toward the terrace doors. She lunged, firing a shot. One gunman dropped, the other staggered. But the leader turned, locking eyes with her. Recognition flickered. "Ramirez," he said. "Didn't think we'd meet again." Her blood ran cold. Ghosts from her last deployment. She thought they were buried in classified files, erased with her retirement. But here they were, and they had come for blood. The name struck her like shrapnel. Commander Victor Drazen, a warlord she'd hunted years ago in Syria. Intelligence had claimed he was dead, killed in an airstrike Elena had helped coordinate. Yet here he stood, alive, smiling through the chaos of her wedding. Her grip tightened on the pistol. Drazen tilted his head. "You took everything from me once. Now I return the favor." He dragged the senator across the floor, gun pressed to the man's temple. Guests sobbed, some whispering prayers. Daniel's breath came shallow, whispering, "Elena, who is he?" Her throat tightened. "A mistake I thought I buried." Noah pressed close. "We can't take him head on. Too many civilians." Elena's eyes darted to Margaret, trembling beside a toppled chair. To Daniel, shaking but still clinging to her hand. To Whitaker, motionless, paralyzed by fear. This wasn't just her past resurfacing. It was her test. Everything she'd survived had led her here, to save not only strangers but everyone she loved. She whispered to Noah, "Get my mother out. Protect Daniel." Then she rose, veil torn, pistol steady, voice clear. "Drazen, it's me you want." Silence carved through the hall. Drazen released the senator's collar slightly, amusement flickering across his scarred face. "The famous Shadow Ramirez," he sneered. "Even in white, you bleed war." Elena's heart pounded, but her voice didn't shake. "Let him go." "This ends with me," Noah hissed under his breath. "You'll get yourself killed." But Elena had calculated the angles. Every exit was blocked, every guest a hostage. The only way to break his grip was to draw the fire onto herself. Drazen chuckled, his men shifting, rifles tightening. "You think this is about one man? No. Today I take your soul, your husband, your family, your future." Daniel, still crouched, shouted, "Elena, no!" His voice cracked, raw with fear. She looked at him, her soldier's eyes softening for the first time. "Trust me." Then she stepped forward, veil ripped, gown trailing like battlefield smoke. Drazen smirked. "Bring her." Two gunmen surged toward Elena. Her training kicked in, pistol raised, 2 clean shots, both men down. Gasps filled the room. Elena leveled her weapon at Drazen. "You wanted Shadow? You've got her." Gunfire erupted. Noah rolled across the floor, tackling one assailant with brutal precision. O'Connor scrambled toward civilians, guiding them through a service corridor. Screams filled the reception hall as chandeliers swayed under the storm of bullets. Elena advanced, each shot purposeful. She didn't fire wildly. Every pull of the trigger was memory, muscle, years of survival condensed into instinct. Drazen ducked behind a toppled table, dragging the senator with him. Daniel crawled closer, clutching Margaret's arm, shielding her. Elena's chest ached at the sight. The 2 people she loved most huddled in terror. Whitaker finally rose, grabbing a fallen rifle. But his hands shook. His first burst went wide, striking plaster instead of flesh. Drazen's men laughed, returning fire. Whitaker dove for cover. His arrogance burned away in a single instant of failure. Elena caught Noah's eye, signaling silently. 2 flanks, 1 push. Old habits, old rhythm. They moved like ghosts through the storm. Then Drazen's voice thundered, "Shadow! Choose the senator or your groom." Elena turned. Daniel, seized by a gunman, a barrel pressed to his skull. Her breath caught. The battlefield had followed her home. The world shrank to 2 points. Daniel's terrified eyes and Drazen's cold smile. Elena's pistol wavered for the first time all day. She could trade her life for Daniel's, but Drazen wouldn't honor deals. He never had. Noah's voice cut through the roar. "Elena, think tactically, not emotionally." But emotion was the battlefield now. Daniel's life was the line between her past and her future. She dropped her veil, her voice sharp. "Drazen, I killed your men in Aleppo because they killed children. I'd do it again. But today you don't touch him." Drazen pressed the barrel harder to Daniel's head. "You'll watch him die first." Elena's mind raced. The chandelier, its anchor groaned above Drazen's position. With one glance at Noah, a plan was born. She shifted left, raising her pistol high. A single shot cracked upward, snapping the chain. The massive chandelier plummeted. Glass exploded. Wood splintered. Drazen dove, releasing Daniel to save himself. Noah surged forward, dragging Daniel to safety. Elena fired again, grazing Drazen's arm. Blood bloomed, but he vanished in the chaos. For now, Daniel lived. But Drazen wasn't finished. Smoke from shattered lights clouded the hall. Guests stumbled out, guided by O'Connor, sobbing but alive. Elena's gown was torn, streaked with blood and dust. Her chest heaved, adrenaline surging through every vein. Daniel clung to her. "You should have let me die." His voice broke. "At least you'd be safe." She cupped his face, eyes fierce. "Don't you dare say that. You are the reason I fight." Noah knelt beside them, panting, his sleeve ripped. "We've got minutes before he regroups. We can't stay boxed in here." Margaret pressed trembling fingers to Elena's arm. "Sweetheart, you don't have to carry this alone anymore." Elena swallowed hard. She wanted to collapse into her mother's arms, to let someone else be strong. But Drazen's shadow lingered. He wouldn't stop with the senator. He wanted her. Noah's voice steadied. "We get the senator out, then we hunt Drazen down before he rebuilds." Elena looked around. Civilians shaken, some bleeding, chandeliers collapsed, tables overturned. Her wedding, a battlefield. She gripped Daniel's hand tighter. This wasn't just about vows now. It was survival and redemption. They moved as one. Elena at the front, Noah flanking, Daniel and Margaret shielded in the center. The senator stumbled beside them, face pale but determined. The service corridor stretched dark and narrow, lined with gleaming kitchen steel. Then a shadow detached from the wall. A gun raised. Elena reacted in a heartbeat, slamming her shoulder into the attacker. The shot cracked, grazing her arm, searing pain. She twisted, disarmed him, slammed his head against steel. He dropped. Daniel gasped, reaching for her wound. She shook him off. Later, keep moving. Noah checked the fallen man's comms earpiece. They're regrouping. We're running out of time. Ahead, daylight spilled from an emergency exit. But as they pushed through, Drazen's voice echoed from the courtyard. Shadow, leave the senator and I let the rest live. Elena stepped out into the sunlight, wind ripping her torn gown. Drazen stood beyond the fountain, weapon aimed. Her bloodied hand tightened on her pistol. Her wedding band caught the light. No, she whispered. Not today. The fight wasn't over. It was just beginning. The courtyard became their arena. Drazen circled, pistol steady, eyes locked on Elena. His men were thinning, some down, others fleeing. But he was relentless, fueled by revenge. You think love makes you strong? Drazen spat. It makes you weak. I will prove it. Elena steadied her breath, ignoring the throb in her arm. Daniel's voice echoed faintly behind her. Come back to me. She carried those words like armor. Drazen fired. Elena dove, marble shards slicing her leg. She rolled, returned fire, was grazing his shoulder. He snarled, advancing. Noah burst from the side, tackling Drazen. They grappled, steel against fists, grunts filling the air. Drazen headbutted, breaking free, pistol swinging toward Noah's chest. Elena didn't think. She ran, dress tearing, launching herself between them. The shot fired and searing past her ear. She slammed Drazen back against the fountain, water exploding upward. They fought brutally, hands slipping, bones straining. Drazen hissed. You can't bury me. Elena forced his arm down, twisting with every ounce of strength. One final shot cracked. Silence. Drazen collapsed into the fountain, water staining crimson. The ghost was gone. The courtyard lay still, broken only by the rush of water and sobs of relief. Elena staggered, bloodied veil clinging to her hair. Noah caught her, steadying her. Daniel rushed forward, pulling her into trembling arms. You saved us, he whispered. His tears mixed with hers. Margaret pressed a hand to Elena's cheek. You're still my little girl. The senator, shaken but alive, gripped Elena's hand with gratitude he couldn't voice. She looked at them all, her mother, her husband, her brothers in arms, the people she'd sworn to protect. For once, the line between soldier and bride blurred into something new. Not Shadow. Not just Elena. Both. Whole. Sunlight pierced through torn clouds, gilding the ruins of her wedding with strange beauty. Amid destruction, love had survived. Elena leaned into Daniel, whispering, Our vows were tested today, and we passed. The warrior laid down her weapon. The bride reclaimed her future. Sometimes the battlefield chooses you. Sometimes love is the only mission worth fighting for. If this story touched you, remember you're not alone in your battles. Love, courage, and sacrifice live in everyday hearts. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and press the bell icon, because tomorrow another story waits to remind you how strong the human spirit truly is.